And we are live and streaming on what we say, the YouTubes, right? You crazy kids out there. Today our Illy Coffee is in a Montana cup, and it's a good start to a cold, early Monday morning. Last week we had a request to do some videos on the SANS or the CIS Top 20 and its relationship to the NIST 853 controls, and we're working on that. It's taking a little more time than we thought it would, so give us a little bit of time on that. We'll get it together. I know it's one of the things some of you want to see. I know we still want to keep going down that track. Today we're going to keep pushing down the track for Security Plus. We're going to work on getting through Domain 1 this week, and Domain 1 is just, it's got a huge chunk of topics right there in the subdomain 1.2, where we talk about types of attacks. There's a lot of stuff in there to go through, a lot of stuff to unpack, stuff you need to know, and it's important to know that stuff. So we'll jump in, keep going with that, and we'll try to add some other content around it as we can. And it's probably important to do that other stuff, because not everybody's going for Security Plus. So we want to make sure we're taking care of everyone that's watching the channel. I know there's some folks out there that are interested in the NIST stuff, the risk management framework, and how to implement controls, maybe COBIT, that kind of thing, Octave, some of the other risk management stuff. So we do need to cover that stuff too, so we'll have to work a way to get all that stuff back into our schedules. So for the folks to join early in the morning or watch the Cup of Cyber, I do appreciate it. I know this is a little bit of an extra piece of content that isn't directly related to the training we're doing. So hopefully, you'll watch the Cup of Cyber, I guess. But for those folks that don't, you won't ever see this, because we are obviously slicing the content off and presenting it by itself as well. Today is Volunteer Appreciation Day, and I think that's probably important right now with all the junk that's going on with COVID. If you are if you're the security person for your organization, you're already working in security, or if you're the kind of the security guru for your friends and family, make sure they know there's a lot of scamming going on right now around this COVID stuff. Be extra cautious. There's no online COVID scanning. There's none of that. So just make sure your friends, family, or the people you support at work are aware. This stuff is not immune from the scammers and the hackers trying to take advantage of what's going on. So anyways, that's the rundown. Not a lot going on this morning. It's cold and damp and dreary here in Northern Virginia. Rain for the next few days. I guess this week we're going to be having rain. So good time to dig in and get some more content out, so you guys can study and be ready for that certification if you're going to take it. Maybe just hone your security chops, your security skills. So this morning we are talking more about Security Plus, Domain 1, types of attacks. Morning we're talking about the man in the browser attack. So hang out for the brief intro, and then we will get into the content. So thanks for watching the extra piece. I'd love to hear from you guys. You folks that are watching the Cup of Cyber, or folks that have been around since we really restarted everything in January. Love to hear what you guys think, where we're going, the direction. Is it right? Is it wrong? Let us know. Still trying to get people certified as fast as we can to get in this field. So be right back after this. All right, I'm Jim with Cyber-Recon, and we are driving on with Security Plus. Today we're talking about the man in the browser attack, which is part of Domain 1, which is compare and contrast types of attacks. And this is subdomain or topic 1.2 types of attacks, the man in the browser attack, right? So man in the browser is a type of man in the middle attack. And it is especially dangerous because in this attack, unlike things like Man in the Middle where we do ARP cache poisoning, this attack, the attacker does not have to be on your local network. So that makes it more dangerous because this one can be carried out from anywhere around the world if they're able to exploit a victim. So we're using the proxy. The attacker's using the proxy in a browser to exploit the victim. This proxy within the browser intercepts and manipulates traffic to and from the browser. And once it's in place, it can do anything it can do anything the user can do. So the attacker can do anything the user can do once this piece of malware is in place. So maybe it's first let's look at normal proxy traffic. And in a network, sometimes we have a proxy that sits at the edge of our network, and it takes and it redirects folks to the sites that they need to go to. So when Alice is going to try to go to her banking site, she'll send that request to the proxy. The proxy will then forward it to the bank. The transaction will happen. Everything is beautiful. Proxies are good because we can do things like web filtering. We can protect our users on our networks by making sure that malicious sites can't be gone to. We can make sure we can restrict those sites that are against our policy, like maybe pornographic sites or hate sites or anything that's deemed inappropriate by our organization. The proxy can filter those things out. But it also does things like sites that people go to all the time. So maybe right now people are going to news sites all the time. The proxy can cache some of that content in the local server on the local network, so you don't have to go to the internet. So Alice could maybe just go to the proxy, get her content, and it would get back to her much faster because it's on the local network. In this case, she's going to a banking site. So Alice goes to the proxy, and then the proxy forwards her to the banking site. The proxy doesn't have to be in this network diagram. A home user is probably just going to go from their computer straight to the bank across the internet. So that's normal proxying, and that technology is what the attacker is going to take and exploit in this type of attack. So in this attack, we've got the same kind of situation, but we've got Hank the hacker. Again, Hank is the bad dude, and he's created a malicious man in the browser proxy. You see it there. It's really ugly. It's got the bug on it. He's going to try to exploit Alice in some way and get this piece of content onto her computer, right? So maybe it's through a phishing attack, maybe it's through malware, maybe it's a Trojan horse attack. Somehow, Hank is going to send this piece of content and have it installed on Alice's computer. Now, when Alice tries to go to her bank or really any other site, that content is going to be proxied through a proxy within her browser. So this is a proxy within her browser. Now, Hank essentially is inside of her browser, right? So now all those protections that we have that are put in place to protect Alice really don't work anymore because he's part of the system now. So Alice can still do her thing. She can still go to the proxy. But the problem is now Hank is getting all of that traffic too. He is able to see anything that Alice is doing if he wants to. She can go to her bank and he's going to be able to see all of that. The other thing that's important with this attack, and this is what makes it really, really dangerous, is that because she's logged onto her bank now or any other sites with credentials, Hank can now interact with that banking site. So he can send requests as if he was Alice. So he can send through this proxy, and once Alice is logged into the bank, he can say, okay, transfer money. He can do whatever he wants as if he was Alice because it's coming from Alice's browser, and Alice is already logged into the banking site. So that traffic will go from the browser that Alice has, maybe to the proxy or maybe straight to the bank, and then to the bank. So Hank is able to interact with anything in that browser as if he was Alice. So this is a really dangerous attack, for one, to be able to do all that stuff, right? So normally a man in the middle can just intercept and change things in line with the communication. But in this case, Hank is able to actually interact with the browser once Alice initiates that communication, logs into the bank. So it could be the same thing if she was logging into maybe Gmail, her mail service. And now Hank is able to launch phishing attacks from Alice's Gmail account. So all of Alice's friends maybe would be more likely to open that phishing email if it's coming from Alice. So imagine if Alice was the CEO of a large corporation and Hank was able to get into this email stream, maybe on Gmail, and send email to all the people in that organization from her as the CEO. Probably a lot of those people would open that email. So man in the browser attack is a very dangerous thing, right? It's part of what you need to know for Security Plus. It's part of really what you need to know as a security professional out there. It's important to know that this is part of the suite of tools that are used for the attacker in the man-in-the-middle type attacks. So it is a type of man-in-the-middle, but it's a man in the browser. Remember, it's important to know that the attacker doesn't have to be on your local network, and the attacker can do anything that user can do with their browser once they're logged in. So, as always, I'm Jim with Cyber-Recon. Like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified, and I'd love to see some comments below. But until next time, be safe out there and be careful.